Hello and welcome back to what is officially the first video of the new year, of the big 2-6. It has been a little break since I finished Bookmas video, so it's been a couple of weeks since we last saw each other, and must I say, it is fun to get back behind this camera. So first off, I want to say Happy New Year's to everybody. A new year means a new month, and a new month means a new TBR list of books to read during that month. And what does that mean? Well, that means we're going to do another little TBR video. But today I thought I'd do something a little different. So my first one, we just did a regular TBR with like a TBR prompt wheel. My second one for December, so for Bookmas, we unwrapped my TBR, but this time I want to do something that I just discovered was possible. So I personally am not really a Goodreads person. Instead, I'm on Fable, which is like a better version of Goodreads. I mean, you can give 0.5 ratings or 0.25 ratings, so like what more do I need to say? But basically they have this thing, it's called Scout, and he's kind of like their little mascot. And what you can do is you can ask him to pick out a book on your TBR. So you just create like a want to read list and Scout will randomly choose one for you. So I thought for this TBR video, we would use Scout and have Scout choose our TBR for the month of January. So normally my entire TBR is on my want to read list. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Scout choose 2 books for me. I'm going to pull them out, we're going to look at them, and then I'm going to decide which one out of the 2 I want to read. That way it's not completely out of my hands. I do still have some decision. But yeah, so each time I'm going to ask him to choose 2 books, and I'm then going to pick out one of the 2 books to read. We're going to do 6 books for the month of January, same as always. Then there will be also a 7th book, because in January I'm going to read People We Meet on Vacation, because the movie is coming out and I want to read the book before the movie. So I think this will be a 7th book. We won't include this, so we'll pick out 6 books and then this will be the 7th book on our TBR. This will be the first book that I will be reading in the new year, because the movie comes out on the 9th of January, I believe. So it'll be like literally the very first book. Basically, this follows Poppy and Alex, who go on holiday together every year. So then something happens 2 years ago and they stop doing that. They stop going on holiday together. But then Poppy decides that what she needs, because she's in a bit of a rut at the moment, and so she decides that what she needs at the moment is to go on one last holiday with Alex, her best friend, and so they go on holiday together. And I'm pretty sure, considering this is a romance book, I'm pretty sure everyone knows how the story ends. But yeah, so this will be the very first book that I will be reading this month, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Okay, so there's this little thing here, right, well it's not focusing, but basically there's a little button where you can like, it says pick for me, and you can have Scout pick out books. So we're gonna have him pick out 2 books, and then we're gonna see what they are. We're gonna pull them out, we're gonna discuss them, and we're gonna see which one I want to read most. Drumroll please. Okay, so the first one that Scout has chosen is The Bridge Kingdom. We pulled this in the first TBR I ever did, the first video I ever did, the November TBR. We were supposed to read it in the month of November, we did not get around to it. However, since then I have found out this is actually not like a continuous series of 6, but it's 3 interconnected duologies all set within the same world, which does definitely make it easier to read, because I'd only have to read the first 2, and then like I would like to read all 6 of them in a row, but if I didn't necessarily have time for that, then I would only read the first 2. Our first option is The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen. Right, let's see the next option. Okay, and then the other book that it pulled out is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth. So this is on my 26 out of 26. However, I was supposed to read this in November and I only got around to it, and I really was looking forward to reading it. Well, I'm going to read the back of this one. I'm going to give a quick overview of this one, and we'll see. The night Cameron Post's parents died, her first emotion was relief. Relief they would never know that hours earlier she'd been kissing a girl. Now living with her conservative aunt in small-town Montana, hiding her sexuality and blending in becomes second nature to Cameron, until she begins an intense friendship with the beautiful Coley Taylor. Desperate to correct her niece, Cameron's aunt takes drastic action. Now Cameron must battle with the cost of being her true self, even if she is not completely sure who that is. So this will be good because it's on my 26 out of 26 and it does seem interesting. And then basically The Bridge Kingdom is about a princess who gets sent to marry a king who is actually her like enemy, and then she's supposed to go there and kill him. She's supposed to take down the kingdom's defenses so that her kingdom can like overthrow them, but then she finds herself falling for him. That's basically like a very generic overview. So honestly this is a really hard decision between these 2, because I do really want to read this, and I was supposed to read in November, but this is on my 26 out of 26, and it'd be good to get it checked off, to like start off the year as we intend to finish it, checking off reading goals, you know? Okay, so we're gonna go with The Bridge Kingdom. For me personally, January is kind of like, it's a chill reading month. So far I've been trying to make myself read books on my TBR that I've had there for a while, that I haven't been reaching for, that I don't think I'll love, and I've done a bit of that this year, except it has meant that these past 2 reading months have been a bit mid. Like, there have been some really good reads, but then there have also been some reads I'm just not a huge fan of, and I do think that's because some of these books on my TBR I have got a couple years ago, and so then my reading taste has changed since then, or just they weren't what I expected, and so therefore I was a bit disappointed. And I feel like January, for the new year, I kind of need a refresh, and I want to read books that I like want to read, that I really want to read, and that I'm almost 100% sure I will enjoy. Otherwise I'm going to slump again if I keep making myself read these books. Because while I'm enjoying reading these books and I'm reading a lot, I'm going to my TBR and that's making me very happy, I need a kind of refresh from the past 2 months, and I need to start off the year and remind myself why I love reading so much. And so I do think I will be going with The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen, because this is an enemies to lovers. It's high fantasy. I actually just cannot wait to read this, and I kind of want to just read, I just want January to be full of books that I'm giddy about, you know? And this I do think will be really interesting, and I do think I will be enjoying it, but I'm not giddy about it. So I think we will save this for another month. And so therefore, the first book that we are adding to our January TBR is The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen. Book 1 is chosen. Let's move on to book 2. Okay, so option number 1 from Scout is An Abundance of Catherine. This is just actually a small book. I don't really know why I want to read this book, but I don't know, I think it will be interesting, and I do enjoy John Green's writing. I think it's quite fun. So option 1, Abundance Catherine. Let's find option 2. Okay, so option 2 is the one that I currently have in physical. It's one I would probably read on my Kindle, and that is Collided by Lauren Asher. So Collided is the second book in the Dirty Air series, which is the F1 romance series that I started in December in my 24-hour reading challenge. So I read Throttled, and they are interconnected standalone. So you can read them, you can just read one, you can read all of them in a row, you can read them spaced out. I'm reading them spaced out. I really enjoyed the first one, and it wasn't like a 5-star read, it was just a really fun time. And I do want to continue the series and get the other people's love stories, because obviously because it's interconnected standalones, it's characters we already know, and so I'm just interested to hear like their side of things. But anyway, let me read the blurb of both of these books and then we'll get deciding. 19 Catherines and counting. When it comes to relationships, Colin Singleton's type is girls named Catherine, and when it comes to girls named Catherine, Colin was always getting dumped. 19 times to be exact. On a road trip miles from home, this anagram-happy, washed-up child prodigy has $10,000 in his pocket, a bloodthirsty feral hog on his trail, and an overweight Judge Judy-loving best friend riding shotgun, but no Catherines. Colin is on a mission to prove the theorem of underlying Catherine predictability, which he hopes will predict the future of any relationship, avenge dumpies everywhere, and finally win him the girl. So this does sound fun. It sounds very, very John Green. It's a nice, quick book. It's about 230 pages, so it'll be nice and quick. It's tempting, however. Sophie. Liam is Formula One's golden boy, but he's nothing but a fraud. Charming, devious, seductive, and someone who promises to fulfill all my bucket list items. I force him behind the safe lines of friend zone. Instead of accepting our friendship, he strikes a deal. 1 season, 1 list, 1 secret. Liam. Sophie is my greatest fantasy brought to life, and a major threat to my contract renewal. She's part of the rival team and someone I should resist at all costs. Everyone is against our friendship. My boss, her dad, me. Yes, I'm captivated by her and the list she created. Screw platonic, I want catastrophic. Honestly, what I feel about the Dirty Air series is that they're like Netflix movie level stuff. You know what I mean? Like a Netflix movie, it's nothing quality, but it's just so fun and entertaining. With what I said about the last 2 books, I do think I'll be going with Collided because I really want to continue that series, and also that way I'm continuing a series, so like, you know, a good justification instead of just I want to. I will be continuing a series and checking that off my list. But yeah, so the next book that we will be adding to our TBR is Collided by Lauren Asher, book 2 in the Dirty Air series. So far we have 2 books out of the 6. Okay, so the first book Scout has pulled up for us. An Ember in the Ashes. So this is book 1 in the Ember Quartet by Sabaa Tahir. I have already read this. This will be a reread, but I want to reread it. I don't remember the plot enough, and I did love it, and I want to get to Air, which is a like sequel spin-off book. Okay, the next book. The next book that is pulled out for me, The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I'm pretty sure this is on my 26 out of 26. Not by choice, more so by I just want to read this and have an opinion and know whether I want to keep it or not, because this has been on my list on my TBR for a while. It's not at all the sort of book I would really usually read, and normally that doesn't bother me, but when the book is 800 pages long, 870 pages long, it is a lot harder to motivate yourself to read it. But anyway, let's read the back of these 2 books and then let's get deciding. Aged 13, Theo Decker, son of a devoted mother and an absent father, miraculously survives a catastrophe that otherwise tears his life apart. Alone and rudderless in New York, he is taken in by the family of a wealthy friend. Theo is tormented by longing for his mother, and down the years he clings to the thing that most reminds him of her, a small, captivating painting that ultimately draws him into the criminal underworld. I do feel like I would enjoy this, and it would be absolutely completely different from every single other book that I have read. But anywho, an orphan fighting for her family, a soldier searching for his freedom, a story burning to be told. Laya is a scholar living under the iron-fisted rule of the Marshall Empire. When her brother is arrested in the dead of night for treason and her loved one slain, Laya must go undercover as a slave at the Empire's greatest military academy in exchange for assistance from those who claim that they can save her brother from execution. The academy's finest soldier, Elias, is secretly its most unwilling, but before he can act on the desertion he plans in his heart, he's ordered to participate in a ruthless contest to choose the next Marshall Emperor. When Laya and Elias's paths collide, they will find their destinies are inescapably intertwined, and their choices will rock the future of the very empire they fear. So, I think we will go against my January rule of reading what is most interesting to me for this choice, because as much as I do want to reread this is then 4 books with the 5th spin-off, and considering I'm already reading The Bridge Kingdom, I think I'd like to read a standalone. That standalone being The Goldfinch is not the choice I would have made. I think it's finally time for me to read this book. The big 2-6 will be the year that I finally read The Goldfinch. I really hope I'm gonna like it. This was not an easy decision, but it is what it is. So, book 3 that we are adding to our TBR is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Don't know how I feel about the decision, but the decision has been made. No going back on it now. It's been filmed. All right. Okay, so the first book that Scout has pulled up for us is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Here we go. So this would be the last R.F. Kuang books that I have to read, because I've read all of her other books. I feel like finishing the year and starting the year on R.F. Kuang, I do appreciate that. But no, this is just option 1 out of 2. Let's find option 2. Okay, so the next book that is chosen is The Favourites by Lane Fargo. And I was just saying in another video that this would be a really good book to read in January, because it's like ice skaters, and that feels very January coded, because ice skating is like a winter activity and January it's still winter. Let's read the back and then let's make a choice. Okay, so this one doesn't really have much for blurb, but anyway. The whole world was obsessed with Kat and Heath. Childhood sweethearts turned Olympic hopefuls, they captivated fans with their scorching chemistry, rebellious style and roller coaster relationship, on and off the ice. Until that fateful day, as the world watched, the unthinkable happened. Everyone saw it. No one knows the truth, but that's about to change. So from what I've seen, this is kind of reminiscent of Evelyn Hugo in that it is a recounting of famous people's stories. And I loved Evelyn Hugo, and I love stories like this, especially if they're dramatic. I've seen a lot of people say this is like dramatic and messy, and that sounds very, very interesting to me. The Poppy War. When Rin aced the Keiju, the test to find the most talented students in the Nakara Empire, it was a shock to everyone. That she got into Sinagard, the most elite military school in Nakan, was even more surprising. But surprises aren't always good, because being a dark-skinned peasant girl from the south is not an easy thing at Sinagard. Fighting the prejudice of rival classmates, Rin discovers that she possesses a lethal, unearthly power, an aptitude for the nearly mythical art of shamanism. Exploring her gift with the help of a seemingly insane teacher, Rin learns that God's long-thought dead are very much alive, and that mastering these powers could mean more than just surviving school. For while the Empire is at peace, the Federation of Mugen still lurks across a narrow sea. The Federation occupied Nikan for decades after the First Poppy War, and only barely lost the continent in the Second. And while most people calmly go about their life, a few are aware that a third Poppy War is just a spark away. This sounds so interesting. It is a trilogy, so this is the first book. Ooh, this is a hard choice. This is a hard choice because I really want to read both of these. I think because we did just end the year on an RF Quang book, I think I should take a break, space her out a little, savour this one because it's the last one at the moment. And so therefore, the fourth book that we will be adding to our January TBR is The Favourites by Lane Fargo, which I cannot wait to read. I'm actually like, to the world they were a scandal, to each other an obsession. Like, tell me that doesn't make you want to read this immediately. I'm gonna have so much fun with this book. Okay, so we have 2 books left that we are going to choose. Let's get on to it. Okay, so the first book, and I was hoping it would pull this one, is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. So honestly, whatever else it pulls is going to have a hard time competing with this because I really want to read this book. Ever since I found out there was enemies lovers to enemies, which is like my kryptonite. Okay. So this choice makes itself. There's almost no point in me reading the back of both books, but we will. Because the other book is A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. This is almost like, it feels unfair to this book because I already know what decision I'm going to make. I already know which book out of these two I'm going to read, but let's read the blurb of both either way. Okay. The adopted human daughter of Nightborn Vampire King, Aurea carved her place in a world designed to kill her. Okay, so the camera literally stopped filming halfway through me reading this blurb and I didn't even notice. That's great, but let's continue. Bloody cameras. Her only chance to become something more than prey is to enter the Kajari, a legendary tournament held by the goddess of death herself. But winning won't be easy against the most vicious warriors from all 3 vampire houses. To survive, Aurea will be forced to make an alliance with a mysterious rival. Everything about Rain is dangerous. He is a ruthless vampire, an efficient killer, an enemy to her father's crown, and her greatest competition. Yet what terrifies Aurea most of all is that she finds herself strangely drawn to him. But there's no room for compassion in the Kajari, and nothing more deadly than love. So this sounds, honestly the book sounds big because I'm not a huge vampire reader person. I had a big vampire phase when I was younger, but I've since like moved on. However, this is an enemies lovers to enemies, and that is my main thing. And I will 100% literally just pick up and read a book that I've never heard of if you just tell me they're enemies, and then they're lovers, and then they're enemies again, because I love that so much. I don't know why. It's my favourite thing of like all time. My favourite trope, my favourite micro trope, whatever you want. A Fate Inked in Blood has no chance of beating this, but it's fine. We're gonna read the back. Trapped in an unwanted marriage, Freya dreams of becoming a warrior and of putting an axe in her controlling husband's back. But those dreams become a nightmare when she makes a deal with their fanatical ruler and she's forced into a fight to the death. To survive, she must reveal her deepest secret. She possesses a drop of goddess's blood and magic that will unite their nation beneath the one who controls her fate. Believing he's destined to be king, the ruler binds Freya with a blood oath and orders his fierce but charming son to train her to fight, to control her magic, and to make sure that no one lays a hand on her. But the greatest test of all may be resisting her forbidden attraction to the son of her enemy. So this does sound very good. I'm pretty sure we also pulled this in my November TBR video, but much like November, unfortunately, it did not get chosen then, and it will not be chosen now. So we will just have to shelve this book for another time. We will be going with The Serpent in the Wings of Night. I cannot wait to read this book. So now we are on to our last book that we will be adding to this TBR. I hope that it's a standalone because I've already got 2 like duology books on here and I just would not have the time for more. So let's pull up what's next. Okay, so the first book that Scout has chosen for me is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stevens. To my knowledge, this is a standalone, which is good. Now, what's the second? Right, so Scout is just keeps giving me either options that's already given me or books in the series. So we're just gonna go with this for the last one because I can't be bothered to just keep asking it and having it give me the same exact answers. Let me read the back. Evelyn has lived countless lives, and in every single one she's been killed before her 18th birthday. But in her present life, her little sister needs her in order to stay alive. To save her sister and make it past her 18th birthday, she'll have to 1. find the centuries-old enemy who hunts her through each life. And 2, figure out why she's being hunted so that she can break the curse once and for all. Most importantly, she's going to try not to fall in love with them again. So as I said in the last one, if you keep falling in love with the person who kills you and you're only 18, just stop getting in relationships with people before you're 18. You know what I mean? Just stay single. It's not that hard. You've got to know that that person is going to kill you. Unless, I guess, because of each time she was unaware that she kept coming back, then that would make sense. But it seems that she's aware from the fact that she's like making a conscious choice to try and stay alive. But from what I've seen, this is also multiple timelines. So you have them in their current life and then flashbacks to them in their past lives. And this does sound very fun. And so here we go. And so people, we finally have our TBR for the month of January, our first TBR of the big 2026. Okay, so the first book, which we didn't pick out, but which we are reading, is People Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. The next book is The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen, and I cannot wait to read this. It is an enemies to lovers high stakes fantasy. Then we picked up Collided by Lauren Asher, which I do not have in physical, but is a continuation of an F1 interconnected standalone romance series. Then of course we have The Goldfinch by Donna Tarr, which is the one book on here that I'm making myself read. We then have The Favourites by Lane Fargo, which is an ice skater romance that is just going to be messy, and I'm here for it. Second to last, we have my most anticipated read of the month, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which is hopefully an enemies lovers to enemies done right. And then finally, last off, we have Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stevens, which is a reincarnation Romeo and Juliet style romantasy. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with this lineup. This is a decent amount of books, a lot of fantasy here, but that doesn't surprise me. Like I said, I want to read books that I know are gonna hit, and I feel like these books are. Honestly, this month is shaping up to be such a good reading month. I actually cannot wait. But anywho, it was fun getting back into this after so much time away. I missed making these little videos for you guys, just talking and yapping about books, so I cannot wait to read these books. I can't wait to get back into posting regularly. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are as happy to have me back as I am to be back. But alas, the video is over and we must bid our adieus. So I will say until next week, have a great week and I'll see you then. Bye!